Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian Abella, and this is the first episode of Hey Brian, is my design any good? So in these episodes, I will be looking at a number of designs sent in and basically giving some constructive criticism on basically what I like, what I don't like, what improvements could be made, and any other suggestions that come to mind during the time of the analysis. Now, please keep in mind that this is just my opinion, and obviously, art is subjective. But obviously, I'd like to be able to put in my years of experience to help those of you who are new to the print on demand business to sort of focus your attention a little bit better on the whole aspect of designing for the print on demand industry. And hopefully, through this particular advice given, it will be able to give you a lot more success down the road as you continue to grow, learn, and improve in your own respective designs. So with that said, let's start with today's episode. Okay, so the first t-shirt design that was sent in reads, I love the way you snore, and then we've got these Z's flowing away. Overall, it's not a bad design. So the first thing that comes to mind when I'm looking at this design is that there's a lot of empty space around the design. Now, this can make or can break a design, and in this particular case, I think that you probably do a lot better for yourself if you were to increase the size of it a little bit. Remember that when people are actually shopping for t-shirts or mugs or whatnot, a lot of them are doing it on their cell phone devices. And if they're scrolling through and the thumbnails are really small, the fact that you have a very tiny font on a t-shirt filled with nothing but white around it, well, maybe perhaps people might miss it because of the fact that they can't read it in such a small size. So what I would suggest that you do is first and foremost, move it up a little bit. I think it's a little bit too low. You can afford to bring it up a bit. I would definitely increase the size of the font and maybe make it a bit of a thicker font, sort of like an impact style font, something with straighter lines on it, something which is bold that is really going to get people's attention. Then I would definitely keep the Z's as they are. Maybe again, obviously increase the size of them too as well. But overall, I think it's a really good idea. And with a few more tweaks, I think that this design can be really smashing and really do well for you too as well. Well, in terms of targeting for this design, you could target women who are married to men who snore a lot. The fact that there is this sort of sarcastic saying to it definitely would resonate with quite a number of women out there whose husbands snore a lot. So well done for that. Just consider those tweaks a little bit, and I hope that your tags are really specific to target that particular niche so that obviously it will show up high in whatever marketplace that you are selling on, be it Redbubble, TeePublic, or otherwise. Okay, the next design, steel is real. Okay, overall, it's not a bad design. I mean, I like the color combination of the white against sort of this tannish color. The thing that's getting to me is the fact that I don't think that the background motif you're using is complementing the saying that you're coming through with. Steel is real. For me, when I read this, I'm thinking guys or gals who are working out in a gym, trying to bodybuild, trying to grow and exercise their muscles. And then on the back side, you've got sort of this floral motif. And in conjunction with that, it's actually making things a little bit confusing with the type of font that you chose for the quote, steel is real. So while I like the fact that you put it on an angle to sort of go along with the motif, there's just too much going on with it and it's really confusing and really hard to read. And for some customers, that might just put them off. So what I would suggest that you do is that if you either want to keep the font style, change the background. Okay, maybe make it something a little bit more gym orientated. Some solid rectangles in the background to make the steel is real stand out. Or else, if you want to keep the motif, and if I'm totally wrong that it isn't pertaining to the workout niche, then you might want to change the style of the font so that it will be a lot crisper against the motif. For me, if it were my design, I would definitely get rid of the background. I don't think the background motif is doing anything for its design, and I think it actually might be working against it. So overall, change the background motif, and hopefully it should do very well for you. Again, I wouldn't say anything about the positioning on the shirt. You've got it well placed. Again, just be careful in terms of what keywords you are using to get this design seen. on Redbubble, TeePublic, or whatnot. Make sure that they're niche specific so that you can get the maximum amount of exposure for this particular design. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this design caught me a little off guard. It's a little hard to understand. In terms of the quality of the clip arts and design, I can't really say anything against it. Let me just see if I can zoom in a little bit here for you without losing too much pixelation. Now, what have we got here? We've got a skeleton rib cage, we've got some roses here, and we've got some butterflies flying around in the background. Okay, I'm really trying hard to decide what niche you would be targeting this particular design for. There's a lot going on over here, and I think the fact that because of the fact that there's just so much going on, it might be working against you. Now, just off the cuff, I'm thinking maybe you could be targeting the medical niche, people who are in medicine, given the fact that you've got the skull, maybe somebody who likes roses and butterflies. But as such, I'm not really seeing in terms of the objective of the design, the goal of the design. There's no text to lead me to it. Everything is really compact. I don't want to say that it's a bad design because I'm sure that you put in a lot of time and a lot of work into it. But in terms of who would actually wear this design out in public, I can't really think of anybody who would. So in that respect, I would definitely suggest that you give this design a rethink and really think about who it is that you are marketing this t-shirt for. Guys, a lot more often than not, when you are designing a t-shirt, ask yourself, is this something that you would wear in public too? Again, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to put you down or whatnot. Maybe perhaps you're still new to this and you're still trying to build up your shop, and you're still trying to find your way in terms of design. But in this particular case, I don't think that you've hit the nail on the head with this one. The color palette is not bad, although the yellow of the butterflies is really standing out against the subdued tones of the roses and the leaves behind it. And again, the fact that you've removed half of the skeleton ribcage and superimposed these graphics on the side of it, I don't think it's doing any credit for you. So in this particular case, I would have to respectfully say, go back to the drawing board with this particular design and come up with something new for that. Okay, moving on. Okay, the next design here is a little quote here. You've got to be kidding me. And I really like this design. I like the fact that you've got the play on words for you've got to be kidding me. Again, you've got this really funny, sarcastic looking cat over here. It takes me back to the days of Garfield with the eyes and the nose over there. And I really like the fact that you've got this white kitten on this blue circular background, which is really making it stand out nicely against the white t-shirt. In terms of the font, let's just zoom in here. I think you've got it a little bit stressed out over there too as well, so that actually is really good too as well. What would I do for this design to make improvements on it? Well, first and foremost, I would definitely suggest that you bring it a little bit higher. I think that you're just shy of the top margin, so you've got that little bit more room so that the design would hug closer to the top of the chest area. A lot of customers do tend to favor designs where they're hovering over across the chest as opposed to being brought further down across the stomach area. What I would perhaps suggest that you do is maybe make the font a little bit larger, particularly kitten me too as well, just so that it stands out. Again, remember, we want to try and make sure that we are getting our design seen in the marketplace search. Again, particularly if people are scrolling and seeing one's design on a cell phone device. Okay, you always want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind, that a lot of people are always searching for things on tablets, on cell phones, and that real estate that you have over there, you want to make sure that you maximize it to the fullest. Now, when I'm talking about real estate, I'm talking about the print area that is offered to you on the shirt. Okay, the clip art graphic, the circle in the background, I would not touch it. I think the size of it is good. What I would suggest that you do is maybe increase the size of the font and obviously bring it up a little bit higher. In terms of targeting this particular design, you could target people who enjoy sarcasm. You could target people who are kitten or cat lovers too as well. And again, when you are choosing your keyword tags for this particular design. Give it some thought, do a lot of research to see what kind of keyword tags are out there, come up with some interesting long tail keyword phrases just to make sure that your design gets the maximum exposure that it can possibly get. But otherwise, 2 thumbs up with this design. I really like it, even in terms of the color tonalities, including the pink in the ears and the nose of the cat. It's not markedly different from the color temperature of the blues, so it really stands out nicely. So well done for that. Okay, the final t-shirt design in today's episode is Zombies Eat Brains, but don't worry, Mr. President, you're safe. Okay, so it's a bit of a political pun, a political jab at the current president, I'm assuming, of the United States. Overall, I think this is a really cool looking design. I think it's quite well balanced. The only one small critique that I would give it, again, is if you can actually bring it up a little bit higher, that would be great. But you've got sort of the word Mr. President basically overlapping the letter T in don't. And it's throwing off the design a little bit from my perspective. That might actually throw some customers off too as well. So what I would suggest that you do is go in and bring the Mr. President, you're safe down a little bit just to see what it does to it and see if it obviously improves the overall appearance of the design. I like the fact that you use the pink color in Zombies Eat Brains and you're safe. The fact that you use Mr. President and the color of that matches the color of the skull. There's a nice balance. So you've got 3 colors. You've got the pink, you've got sort of like this greenish yellow, and obviously the white too as well. In terms of fonts, you've got 1, 2, 3. From what I can tell, 3 different font styles. They work pretty well too as well. I'm not sure I'm really happy, again, this is my opinion, with the font style that you chose for Mr. President. It's really busy, and I think it might be taking away from the overall design. So see if maybe perhaps you could change the font style, either make it the same font as your safe, or else if you want to have sort of like this kind of something similar to the font that you've used, try to see if you can get one that doesn't have all of the, I'm assuming these are stars and stripes. So let's just zoom in here a little bit just to see. Yeah, there's stars and stripes, obviously, for the United States. But in this particular case, I don't think it's doing justice for your design, particularly the fact that you've got this skull zombie over here. It's really detailed. You've got the dripping skin coming from it. There's already a lot of action happening within the circle that you have up here. And obviously, you've got the Zombies Eat Brains type font, which is already in itself, from my perspective, it's working better with the skull than the Mr. President font that you've chosen. So overall, you're really well on your way. 2 thumbs up for the idea and the concept. I'm sure that this is something which is trending. That's the reason why you created that. So well done. You're shooting for a trend. What I would do, again, from my opinion, is bring it up a little bit, increase the space between don't and president, and change the font for Mr. President. But otherwise, works really well. 2 thumbs up for that. Again, don't forget, be very specific with respect to the keywords that you choose, including long tail keyword phrases. And in terms of who you're targeting, well, maybe you could target Republicans in the United States, given the fact that the current president is a Democrat, zombie lovers, sarcasm lovers too as well. And I think if you focus on those 3 things, you should probably do very well for yourself. So there you have it, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this first episode of Hey Brian, is my design any good? Just to give you a little bit of an idea, the fact that we're discussing and critiquing different designs gives us a better perspective in terms of what we should be focusing on when we are creating our own designs, particularly if you are new to the print-on-demand design. And hey, if you'd like to have one of your designs featured on another upcoming episode of Hey Brian, is my design any good? I'm going to leave a link down in the description box below where you can actually send in your design, and maybe perhaps your design will be featured in an upcoming episode. But for today, that's all I've got. And as always, be safe, be well, be creative. Bye for now.